Hello my loves, and welcome to this full moon video. We are moving through a full moon in Scorpio, and as I'm recording this we're just sort of like exiting the edge of that energy, right? And apologies for not getting this video up prior to full moon. I work around my kids and I work on witch mum time, which means that it could either be witch time or it could be mum time. But I will always try to endeavour to get these videos out in and around the energy, because just because we have a date and a time for the peak of the full moon, so it was May the 2nd here, it doesn't mean that energy completely disappears or dissipates, right? Full moon energy sort of sticks around for around 3 days minimum. So you've got like the lead up to the build up of full moon. So when it's in that like 98, 99%. And then you've got day of full moon, which is where it's in its 100% luminescence. And then on the other side of that, where it's like that, again, 98, 99% sort of, but now it's waning energy. So I want to say this for people who are starting out on their path, or you're a very busy witch practitioner, you've got life stuff on just like me, right? Witch mums, witch dads, carers, anybody who is working their magic within a schedule, just know that you're not locked into a date. So if you don't get to your full moon bath right on May the 2nd, then I'm sure leading up to, you know, May the 1st, April 30th, May the 3rd, May the 4th, May the 4th be with you. Perfectly fine to do your rituals, because that energy is still lingering. Yes, the moon might be in a different sign, moving in and out of, but it's a window, right? It's a portal, it's a window. It's not just like, yep, fucking today is the day, and if you miss it, you miss out. Like, obviously for certain rituals and things like that, you're wanting to get peak moon energy, or as close to peak moon energy as you can get, but you can still sit and reflect and feel into those energies when it's not exactly on full moon, but in and around, right, within that weird window. I also want to say that for the wheel of the year dates, so the Sabbats and solstices, we have auspiciously had this full moon come through on the traditional date of Samhain, which is April 30th, May 1st, and for those in the north, it's Beltane. So here in the south, we are entering the energies of death and ancestral wisdom, really reaching through to the liminal for guidance from the other side, our spirit guides, our connections to devas and deities, our ancestors, our connection to the land and its spirits and its creatures is more heightened through this Samhain portal. And it's the same with Beltane. And the thing that I love about Samhain and Beltane, and I love Samhain even more because I'm born just a few days before Samhain, so it feels really auspicious for me as a witch and a practitioner walking this path. But Samhain and Beltane are like the energies of death and conception, right? So we have Samhain being like the end of the journey, being the transition to the afterlife, where we are initiated into the role of ancestor. On the side of that we have Beltane, so we continue through the wheel, and for us in the south it is November, but in the north it is Samhain at that time. So we get to experience this beautiful start and completion of the life cycle through the wheel with these cross-quarter Sabbats. Beltane is that energy of conception. It's where the masculine and the feminine and the energies that bring forth life come together, and they come through after being nourished and thriving from the composting that happens through the Samhain portal and through winter, right? And to me, moving through autumn, it is a death and dying process. Autumn to me is also the season of elders, where they are passing on their lineage and their wisdom to the descendants which will precede them and carry on the cultures, right? And the sacred rites and traditions of a people. So autumn is a time of elders, but it's also the time of dying. It's also the time of grieving and feeling and reflecting on experience. And I really feel like this is quite auspicious for the southern hemisphere right now to be experiencing a full moon in Scorpio through the Samhain portal in Taurus season. Because Taurus is all about the way we live, right? It's the grounded, physical, sensual, beautiful experience of life, like feeling into the presence of it every moment, every drop. For me, as a native to Taurus, being born on the 24th, this is something that has innately shaped me within and without. And I've noticed that reflecting on Taurian nature, it is about being mindful as you graze the pastures of your life, connecting with your herd, your clan, your people, and really absolutely noticing the beauty of this planet that we're on, the world we're in, the kinships and connections that we have built, honoring the beauty in other people. And I'm really emphasizing this in my own sort of like even mundane personal stuff. Like I've been watching a show called The Dark Winds, which is about Navajo people on reservation in the 1970s, and you follow the story of a cop. He's a lieutenant and he's caring for the Dene, their people, but they have a tradition, and it is all about returning to the beauty of life and maintaining peace through upholding beauty. And to me, there could be nothing more Taurian about that. I like having that reverence and connection to your land, to your people, and taking those beautiful first moments in spaces and places and really feeling into the nature of the land and the animal spirits and spirit in general, and the people around you, and allowing that to be the magic, right? Because there's this sort of like stereotype about Taurians, because we're all about plants and green magic, and yeah, it's true. It's true. It's absolutely fucking true. Love me some plants. But there's more to it. There's more to it than just being green magic, than being plant magic. It's really understanding, the deep understanding, hoof on the earth understanding that this is the magic. And we, in our mundane, are infused with it, which comes through as that animate force. And I feel like, you know, in my own culture, Aboriginal culture, in other Indigenous cultures like Navajo and whatnot, we have a real understanding of this. There's that animism is way of life, you know, it is essence. And so Taurus energy is really bring that through in presence. And Scorpio is our opposition on the chart, funnily enough, which takes us into the depths. I see Scorpio as the scorpion in the desert, right? And I always love when a full moon falls on Scorpio, because it's like the illumination. It's a whole new world out there in the desert at night. you know, as opposed to the vast sort of expanse of nothingness we see during the day. But the desert comes alive at night, and I really feel that Scorpio invites us into that place of reflection and introspection, being a water sign too, so the nourishment, the feeling, amplifying the experiential magic of our everydays and connecting the dots, you know. Out in the desert at night, the sky is just so clear, and it's like the constellations of our consciousness come through with this moon. It also illuminates a lot of shadow and a lot of guilt, shame, resentment, jealousy can start to also be really prevalent, and awareness around those things can build, which can make us uncomfortable. And it makes sense because Scorpios are venomous, right? They have stingers. Where are we envenomating ourselves in this process? Like, what is poisoning us against experiencing the most beautiful aspects of our life that we can? And for me, I think it comes down to expectation. It comes down to conditioning. It comes down to shadows and personal trials. You know, lately I've been feeling like, as a mum, as a housekeeper, you know, a home tender, I should say, that sometimes all of that is really overwhelming, and it can take me away from what I want to do to feel the beauty and the magic, right? Ritual, art, tending to myself, reflection. And then I start to demonize. I start to go, oh, I fucking hate this house. And it takes me to a place of real ingratitude. But it's valid because there's a message in it. There's a tending that needs to happen there within that shadow. And for me it is, I really need beautiful spaces to thrive, which is so Taurian. But we all thrive off really beautiful, well-kept spaces that are full of colour and full of life, right? The world is full of colour and we live in fucking grey and black boxes, you know? So for me, it was recognising, okay, I might not own my house. I might not be able to paint the wall the rainbows that I want, but I can make spaces of beauty. And I really feel like this full moon in Scorpio, backed with our sovereign ancestors, right? Their strength is coming through. They're making themselves known. They're sending us messages to get us out of those poor me cycles. There's a real theme of, fuck it, I'm just gonna go after it. I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna start to have a real good look at these things that are holding me back and actually do something about it. And a friend shared a quote the other day that she shared on her reels from a therapist. And it was, what's in the way is the way. So thank you, Elodie, if you ever watched this, because that was like, whew. And it's so true. We resist it. We make the boundary of it. We block ourselves, and it creates the obstacle to not attaining our desires, you know, or the fear of it really holds us back, because having that, what we actually want to do, it creates expansiveness. It creates change. It opens up our capacity, and our nervous systems have to really align with that as well as we do it. But the only way we're going to get there is if we go through. So Scorpio's really sort of just like pushing the boundaries. How far into the desert can we walk? You know, how far does it go? There's a real exploration here. You know, what are we going to encounter? What's out there beyond this little zone of safety and comfort and belief and whatnot that I've just kept myself in? Be that unknowingly through my own subconscious patterning, or knowingly through trying to meet the parameters that have been set that are actually blocking my way forward. So this full moon is a real illuminator, and I've actually really quite enjoyed its energy. Sometimes full moons for me can be a bit full on, but I think it also depends on the wisdom and the medicine of the sign that they're flowing through and what that's bringing up energetically for different people. My perception of the moon and its energies may be completely different to yours. You may be like, oh, this fucking Scorpio full moon wrecked me. That's totally valid and okay, because obviously, and also depending on where it falls in your chart too. So keep that in mind, your birth chart, your astrological birth chart, where Scorpio falls is going to have an impact when the moon moves through that sign in these phases, be it new, be it full, when it moves through planetary motions. And so we have a Pluto retrograde coming up as well, which is in like a day or two. So it might pay to go and look at your astrology charts. But yeah, so I think that's really all I have to share for this moon. Let me know in the comments what you're experiencing, what you're feeling, what's coming through for you intuitively, because I always love to hear like what's coming through for the collective and how it may complement or vary from my own interpretations. I think these themes always beautifully find their way to weave into one another, be it through opposition or complementary threads. So yeah, but before we go, I want to give you a little bit of a refresh and start for your week. So I meant to do this at the start, but I just started talking. And we'll do a card to close the video out. So allow yourself to receive some beautiful rosemary smoke, knowing that you're exactly where you need to be, here with me. There is nothing that you need to overanalyze or think right now or solve. You just need to be present to the beauty. Be present to what's arising from the subconscious depths of your inner deserts. Feeling into what the scorpion is coming through with for you. Tapping into the animal energy, maybe later looking into the animal energy. But how does Scorpion make you feel first and foremost? And what does it say when it comes through? For this video, which comes from my deck, the Primal Oracle, which I'm hoping to do another print run of soon. So if you would be interested in that, it is a deck about Paleolithic wisdom and ancestral wisdom, inspired by our most ancient ancestors, the landscapes they lived in, and the creatures they walked beside. The tundra. Speaking of landscapes, so it's to be resilient. And I actually really think, and it's so beautiful because it's like that in between. We've got the beautiful bright sun in the blue sky warming things up really and cool, and the snow is melting, creating this like little creek which life is just sort of siphoning energy off here, right? But the nature of the tundra is that at first, kind of like the desert, right? it seems like it's nothing. There's nothing here that could be viable for creating life or bringing the resources and opportunities that we need to thrive on our path forward. But life always finds a way, right? There's such a power and strength here. And we can call on the power and strength of our ancestors to create resiliency, to try and turn things around for ourselves. Like I was saying before about the analogy of my house, like I can either allow the overwhelm and the wants and the desires and the scarcity to block me from actually being able to fully experience the beauty of this moment. Like this landscape, it's beautiful. Look at the oranges and the greens in the grasses, and you know, the beautiful snow and the blue sky. Like there is beauty here. We just have to find it. And so it's calling on us now as we enter this Samhain portal, as we move through into the cooler, darker months, to be resilient. And this resiliency also comes from facing the illuminated shadow, with choosing to reroute our path, even though it's not what was originally intended. Thinking outside the box, being adaptable, not following the societal conditioning, subconscious beliefs that we have allowed to shape us for so long. So feeling into that, the tundra, be resilient, that is the message moving forward through this portal, through this full moon Scorpio portal, through this portal of Samhain, the time of our elders and ancestors, and autumn moving through to winter. And it also speaks to the beautiful Beltane energy too. Like I said, life will find a way. From the death comes the rebirth. And so there are things being conceived in the melting ice caps of the tundra. There is so much flora and fauna to be gained from this. So yeah, well, that is my video for you for this beautiful full moon, and I hope you've enjoyed it. I'd love to hear about any sort of reflections that have come up through you as I've been talking. Like I said before, this beautiful fire rattle is still available in my shop if you would like to become his keeper. He is a gourd rattle with mookaite and yellow jasper and shell coming down the handle, and the handle itself is a camphor laurel branch. And I scavenge these materials. I get the gourds from a beautiful local shop that farm their own gourds, and the branch is from the land where I reside. So beautiful, beautiful medicine tool. And that is it for me, but I will see you soon in the next video. I am planning to post more videos, so if you really like what you have felt into with this video with me today, I'd love it if you liked the video and subscribed and share it with someone who you feel might resonate with me and my medicine. Leave a comment, tell me how all of these energetics are landing for you, and yeah, don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok if you haven't already. Alright, I'll see you soon. Bye, my loves.